Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and Bungie just dropped an article on Strand coming to Lightfall, and I can't wait. I'm really excited about this. I did check out the trailer already, so if you missed that, check out the playlist because it is there as well. And I wanted to go over the article to kind of clear up some of the confusion that I've seen around after the trailer because there is a lot to go into in depth with Strand. So, they say it's been clear based off of what they've shown that Lightfall is different. Things coming ahead during the penultimate chapter of the Light and Dark saga. But yeah, some of the things we've seen with Strand have been very, very cool. Think of an era of film where no explosion was too big, no action set piece was too over the top. That's really good to me. I like when my space magic is wild and crazy, so I'm here for that. The team has many concepts for Damage Type 5, as it was originally called, before settling on Strand. So they kind of go into the how they had various concepts. There wasn't a single aha moment, but everything just kind of fell into place, etc., etc. To understand Strand, let's talk about vocabulary. We got suspend. Suspend PvE enemies lifted off the ground for a brief duration is essentially disabled. In PvP, suspended players are lifted off the ground but can still move, albeit slowly, and fire their weapon. So there's where the PvE versus PvP difference is. And we're going to see probably bosses and other champions that type maybe be immune or at least resistant to suspend a bit more. Unravel. Attacking an unraveled enemy will cause threads to burst out of the target and attack other nearby targets. Once hit, the target will also become unraveled. So basically, it's going to extend from one enemy to another, depending on how the abilities work, how you're able to keep that chain going. I like that. It's a lot of fun. Sever. Severed enemies left capable of affecting the material world, reducing their damage. So basically a debuff, which is good. I like every subclass, in my opinion, should have either a buff or a debuff coming. Major buff coming with Strand is Woven Mail. With this ability, the Guardian is sheathed in protective mesh, reducing no incoming damage. Note, in PvP, it only reduces damage taken to the body. Head damage and melee damage will continue as normal. Good. So it's not going to be too broken like an overshield you might see now. Again, this picture right here is sick. I'm a huge fan of this. One of the most exciting new abilities is the grapple. With this ability, players can press a grenade button and their guardian will weave a hook, which will then grab onto an anchor point. Grappling hook will then begin contracting, pulling the guardian along. They kind of go into details about the grapple hook. I defeat an enemy with my melee. They unwind into a tangle. I grapple onto the tangle, which refunds my grapple, and snatch the tangle out of midair. I then hurl the tangle at a group of enemies in the distance, grappling onto the tangle again while it flies and pulls me through the air behind it. As the tangle nears a group of enemies, I slam down out of my grapple to suspend a lone enemy who split off from the group, while the tangle slams into the rest of the group and explodes. That sounds insane. So it's basically like an infinite combo type situation that I think could be outrageous, to be honest. So we'll see how it works in practice, but that sounds very, very fun for me personally. Warlock is Strand Minion Master. I like this from what we saw with the Threadlings. Again, when I was watching the video, that was one of my favorite parts. Explosive minions woven from Strand matter. The Warlock Broodweaver, being the cerebral type, is more in tune with the Threadlings than the other classes. So it kind of explains there a little bit, but here are the aspects. Weaver's Call. On Riftcast, the Warlock weaves 3 Threadling eggs, which hatch in the Threadlings when they hit the surface. Any purged Threadlings are converted to additional eggs. That sounds wild, to be honest. But again, I like the Rift cast into the Threadlings. That's going to be very, very cool. A Mindspun Invocation. This aspect improves several of the Warlock's abilities. Grapple. When you execute a grapple melee, the Warlock weaves 3 Threadling eggs from the target. Threadling Grenade. You can consume your Threadling Grenade to generate a full complement of purged Threadlings. And Shackle Grenade. You can consume your Shackle Grenade to gain a buff, creating a suspended detonation on every kill. That's pretty fire. I like all of those. The Warlock's telekinetic abilities culminate with a Super Needle Storm, a deadly combination of burst damage and aerial denial. On cast, the Warlock conjures Strand matter into a fusillade of hardened spikes, launching them forward in the way of the hand. The missiles will stick into enemies and the environments alike before detonating and reweaving themselves into an army of Threadlings. Yeah, their super looked like my favorite, I believe. The Threadrunner was really, really cool, but as I kind of dove into it, the Warlock looks insane. While restrained, Guardian will have access to grapple. And the array of mobility option, the hunter takes movement and speed to an entirely new level. So, the melee attack threaded spike has the hunter hurling out a rope dart that bounces between enemies. This I saw in the trailer, it looks phenomenal. And severing them before returning to the hunter. So it basically debuffs them as well. The 2 Strand aspects available for the hunters. Ensnaring slam. While in the air, press the air move input to slam downward, suspending all nearby enemies. So think Shatter Dive, but you strand them instead kind of thing. Widow Silk. This aspect grants an additional grenade charge. The grenade's grapple ability creates a persistent grapple tangle when it latches, which fully refunds grenade energy when grappled to. Hunters can use this ability to set up chains of grapple points that their entire team can use, greatly enhancing their ability to quickly move around in combat and traverse the environment. That could be wild. We're going to have to wait to get our hands on it, but that could be actually insane. The lethal combination of grapple and rope dart converge with Threadrunner Super Silk Strike. When activated, the hunter uses a grapple to freely move through the world in third-person view, while also throwing their rope dart to strike down enemies. Hunters will be able to use grapple more often during the super, and the rope dart features both a light and heavy attack. Okay, that sounds insane. Titan Berserker. This is the one I was least interested in, unfortunately. And I'm a Titan main. Hulking massive guardian stands before a squad of enemies, ignoring their paltry taunts. From the start, the fantasy of Strand when Titan Berserker was wild, untamed power. The Titan Strand melee is Frenzied Blade. With the press of a melee button, the Titan dashes forward and slashes at enemies with their Strand arm blades, severing enemies and decreasing their damage output. With a default set of 3 charges, Titans can chain these slashes together for maximum offensive power. Into the fray. Destroying a Tangle Weave weaves woven mail into the Titan and nearby allies. In addition to reducing damage taken, this aspect also increases the Titan's melee energy regeneration while wielding woven mail. So basically, you can get a buff from the woven mail, like an overshield essentially, and then you'll also be able to use the melee ability in order to debuff the enemy. So this is really almost like a support class. Drenger's Lash. When the Titan casts a class ability, the Titan will blast forward a power ripple in reality, suspending enemies that are caught in the shockwave's path. We also know that the Titan exotic is going to have to deal with the barricade as well, so that's going to be very interesting. Titan Berserker Super Blade Fury sees the Titan dual-wielding Fist Blades and roaming around the battlefield with ill intent. Super's light attack is a supercharged version of Frenzy Blade, and each light attack that connects increases the next attack speed. So basically, you can go faster and faster. In addition, connecting with light attacks also builds energy for the Super's heavy attack. With the heavy attack, the Titan hurls a pair of projectiles that seek out enemies, suspending and damaging them on impact. Elsewhere, Strand will see 3 new grenades, including Grapple, which is controlled with the grenade button. The Threadling grenade splits into 3 projectiles that weaves into Threadlings upon impact. Shackle grenade effectively acts as a bola, detonating in a suspending blast and sending out a small secondary bolas to suspend nearby enemies. Finally, it wouldn't be a new element power in Destiny 2 without new fragments. So here's a look at a few of the fragments. Thread of Ascent, activating the grenade ability reloads and your equipped weapons and grants increased weapon handling and airborne effectiveness. Thread of Fury, damaging targets with Tangle, grants melee energy. Thread of Finality, finishers generate Threadlings. That could be fun. And then Thread of Warning, picking up an orb of power, grants woven mail. So yeah, all very good. All very good. I'm very excited about this. Again, I think I'm going to have to look at the Titans Berserker a little bit different than I would have otherwise. But classes look great. Melees, all these abilities, it looks like it's going to be so much fun. And that's all I care about. Whether it's OP or not, whether it's the most broken class that we've ever seen, who knows? We're going to get hands-on in just a few weeks. But I do know that it's going to be a blast, and that's all I care about personally, especially in the short term. So I can't wait to see how it plays out. Can't wait to get hands-on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm going to have loads of content heading not only into Lightfall, but obviously through it as well. And on the way to the final shape, which I can't wait for. All of that. I'm just so excited for the future of Destiny in the near term. Anyway, my name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.